have them. Okay, so back to what would I do differently? I thought that maybe it was important while I had all my littles, and they started to grow up, and I had babysitters, and I had little kids, and I thought maybe I would have gone to a women's Bible study, because that's something that I didn't do. I stayed at home with the kids all the time, actually, and it wasn't that I was forced to. I didn't begrudge the kids that I was home, but I chose not to go out to a Bible study for a long time, and I thought maybe I would have done that differently. But then I thought about my kids, and I've always been home. But what I did do with the kids, because I was always home, I hired a young homeschool gal to come into my house and watch the littles while I homeschooled the bigs upstairs. That I thought was very beneficial, because the kids got some one-on-one time with Mom in the higher grades that they were doing, because the little kids were sometimes in our way. When I had the twins, if we were working at the table, they didn't like to be down on the floor away from what was happening, and they'd climb up on the chair and sit right over the kids' books and look them straight in the face, like, talk about in your face. Anyway, so we've juggled all kinds of things. Let's see what else. My favorite curriculum. There's some wonderful stuff out there, so I don't know, I can't think of anything that I might have missed, but, so I told you what a day would look like. Oh, I have a couple of pointers. I used to think it was important. There was a joke, you'd have to look at it, it was a cartoon. And the dad comes home from work, and there's toys everywhere. There's stuff splashed. He goes to the kitchen, and it's a terrible mess. And he comes up the stairs, and it's even messier. And when he comes into the bedroom, master bedroom, there's his wife sitting there, and she says, yeah, you know all that stuff? I don't know. You asked me what did I do today? Well, I didn't do any of it. And so that's what you've come home to. And that's a joke. But for us, I had all these little kids, we did all of this stuff, and it's everywhere in the house. Surely when my hubby gets home, he'll see all this stuff we've done. Whereas actually, he had to tell me later, he'd walk in, see the mess in all these kids, and want to go back to work. And I didn't realize it. He said, when I come home, if you just even clear a path to the Chester for me, so I can sit down and I can say to my kids myself, what did you do today? He said, that will help me. Even if you stuff everything you've done into other rooms or in the closet, I don't care, just a path, so I can sit down. And I thought, well, at first I was, you mean you don't want to see all our project work all over the floor? And at first I was a little upset, and then I realized I do this all day. This is what I do, this is my job, and here it is, it's obvious. And for him, he didn't want it, he'd like us to bring him a finished product and show us how it works instead of seeing all the gears on the floor. So I call that honoring Dad. We honor Dad that way. And so it was like 4:30. Okay, you guys, Dad will be home in half an hour. We got half an hour. You. And we would clean up and tidy a path for Dad. That's what we did. We took advantage of, we got to be on property, so the kids had a number of animals through the years, and that kept them busy. But I had one son who was not pleased to be distracted. I would say to the kids, okay, here's our lesson plan, and I'm a teacher like this, and he's a student like this. I don't want to watch Mom do this. I just want to do my work. So I'm teaching, I got my lesson plan, and I look out the window, and the horses are out. So I say, kids, the horses are out, let's go. And most of them were, yes, no school, let's go. And David would sit at the table and he'd say, just finish the lesson. So he's the guy that decided in grade 12 to go to school, and he did very well. He appreciated having a teacher teach him just math for 1 hour, and it was done. And he changed classes, just science, 1 hour, and it was over. He really appreciated that, and the rest of my kids were, they liked this. Some of them did. David was the guy when he was little. I'd be reading the book, and I interject, and I make faces, and I tell the story with voices, and then I'd say, that reminds me of a story, and we'd go off on a rabbit trail. Well, he'd be under the table playing Lego, and he'd draw us back quite often. Mom, hit my foot. Mom, get on with the story. And I'd get on with the story. But you know, I would sit at the table with those kids, and I'd say, do you remember how many soldiers that Pharaoh had? And these guys would be whatever, in different stages of paying attention, but the answer always came out from under that table. So these little guys, you know, that don't pay attention, or you don't think they're paying attention, and they're busy and they're always into things, quite often they're the little guys that are really listening, but they can't sit still at the table with you. So I let him play Lego under the table. That was a really great thing for Dave. So, how am I doing for time?